Welcome to Tabula Rasa, bitches.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Allie, and my pronouns are she, her.
And I'm Nick, and my pronouns are he, him.
And welcome to Season 2, Episode 7 of Tabula Rasa, bitches. Welcome.
Welcome indeed. In Tabula Rasa, bitches, your two co-hosts discuss and dissect Buffy the Vampire Slayer, a show that bonded them together so many years ago. And in this episode, dear listeners, we will be discussing Season 2, Episode 7, Lie to Me.
Always, Nicholas. As usual, we'll do our best to avoid spoilers beyond this episode, but today we'll discuss this episode, spoilers and all. The episode opens with Angel saving a kid from Drusilla's clutches and urging she and Spike to leave town. Unbeknownst to them, Buffy is out patrolling and observes and misconstrues the interaction. The next day in school, Buffy and the gang learn that Billy Fordham, Buffy's 5th grade crush, has transferred to Sunnydale High. Xander is, unsurprisingly, jealous, and Angel is as well when he runs into the Scoobies at the Bronze that night. Later, Ford sees Buffy stake a vampire, but confesses that he already knew she was the Slayer before she left LA. Angel is suspicious about Ford and teams up with Willow and Xander to investigate him. They learn that Ford isn't actually enrolled at Sunnydale High and that he is part of a cult of vampire wannabes. Ford finds his way to Spike's hideout and cuts a deal. Make Ford a vampire and Ford will deliver Buffy. Ford lures Buffy into the cult's converted bomb shelter and locks everyone in, awaiting the vampires to come and convert them. Buffy learns Ford is doing this because he has cancer, is dying, and that he feels he doesn't have a choice. Buffy reminds him, you don't have a good choice, but you have a choice. The vampires break in, and Buffy holds Drusilla hostage, telling Spike to let the humans go. Spike does, and everyone except Ford escapes. The next night, Ford rises as a vampire and is staked by Buffy, while she and Giles talk about the complicated nature of life. And shout out to one Nicholas for this original summary.
Shout out to me in general, and that is not a lie.
Agreed.
That is not a lie.
I shout you out quite often.
I am grateful for it. I'm cheering you right back on, you sweet thing, you.
No.
So I say this, I think, for just about every episode, but I love this one, Allie. These themes are incredible, and I connected some dots during this rewatch that I haven't connected before, and I love this episode.
It is a great episode. Yeah, I definitely saw some different threads in this one, and I guess I don't want to say connected isn't quite the right word, but yeah, I appreciated different parts of it. Something just random and interesting. There was no into each generation.
I noticed
at the top of this episode.
Yeah, I wonder what that was about. Was that a Cup for Time thing, do you think?
Maybe this was kind of an extra long thing. Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, okay, we're just hopping right into it. Whatever.
Hop right on in. And what a scene to open us up with.
Oh, I know. The kid waiting for his mom to pick up. This is why I said this is why we have cell phones now, so creepy doll vampires don't come kill us.
Yeah. PSA to parents in Sunnydale. I'm sure this mom was doing the best she could, or I hope she was at least.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
let's maybe take extra vigilance. In a city like Sunnydale, kids shouldn't be outside alone at night. Not a good idea.
No.
And
no, definitely not.
This kid knows what's up too. He was good. He said, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers.
Yeah, which I thought was an underreaction to when she says they'll find your body. And he says, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers.
I wrote when she said that line, this bitch really is crazy, but
oh, totally. Yeah.
She has a great manicure.
She is kept very well groomed.
Yeah.
Spike takes excellent care of her.
I am glad for her for that, honestly. And we get some interesting, there's a lot of lying in this episode, but Spike keeps one very important promise.
Always.
Right at the end. I respect him for that.
Yeah.
I liked Drusilla. So the kid says, I'm not supposed to talk to strangers or something like that. And Drusilla, she gets mad. There's like fury in her. And she says, well, I'm not a person, see? And it was so interesting to get that peek. I wonder what made her so mad about that.
So I think based on her interactions with Angel, specifically this episode where she says like, and maybe some other episodes where she says like, well, I don't have any parents. So, and you saw to that. I do think she's bitter.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of her that would have loved to be alive. And, you know, at the time that she was supposed to be, obviously, like she makes the best of things with Spike, but sometimes in the way that she talks to Angel, I think she clearly resents him for that.
Yeah, a bit resentful, hanging on to
that away from her. Which, I mean, he took away her sanity, which is a pretty big thing,
That's
as
rude.
well as all of her family.
That's very rude. Don't do that.
Person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't kill somebody's family. Come on. What's wrong with you? Were you raised in a barn?
It's crazy. Crazy really is, as crazy does. I think she's maybe having a rare lucid moment, because I think, first of all, this is the like one and only time we see Buff patrolling on a rooftop. It makes sense that she's on a rooftop. Batman got it. Spider-Man got it. But this is like the one time just so that she can see this exchange between the two of them.
At the rooftop right by the two of them too. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think Drew knew exactly what she was doing.
Oh.
Because she has this moment where she's like moving her head side to side where like if you were at the right angle, it might look like they were making out. Wow. And it didn't really seem like, la la la, I'm crazy. It seemed like I sense the presence of a powerful being. I think maybe she knew what she was doing.
Oh, that is a great theory and so plausible.
Yeah, because she clearly has her lucid moments. She isn't always off in La La Land.
Yeah, I love that. So it's not surprising to the viewer. Is it surprising to the viewers that Angel and Drusilla know each other? It's because they know that Spike and Angel know each other. I think there was certainly a twist there that viewers certainly may not have seen, how they clearly have a history together. And I feel like that piece.
So I think maybe, again, hard to put my feet in a new viewer's shoes. I think they could maybe, because she has run with Spike for so long, and it is implied just how far back that they all go, that like he and Spike goes when they see each other in School Hard. And I guess they see each other again on Halloween, but they don't really talk about it. I think we can be assumed that he probably knows Drusilla at least through Spike. This is definitely where we find out that he has known Drusilla. I mean, not this scene, but like later in this episode is when we find out he's definitely known Drusilla much longer than he's known Spike.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely, the whole dining room scene is definitely new information. Definitely, maybe red flag for Buffy. Oh.
Yeah, I have a lot to say when we get to that scene, as you probably will not be surprised by. So,
not at all.
At school the next day, Jenny and Giles are planning their night out, and Jenny won't tell him where the date is. And I think that this is adorable.
It's super cute, but I also completely understand Giles' frustration. I mean, she makes an excellent point. Do you own anything else? Which he cops to. He's like, yeah, fair point. But I, as a girl who does heavily accessorize, and does like to be appropriately dressed, although I always err on the side of being overdressed, because really, can you be overdressed? But I definitely have had that frustration where a boyfriend's like, okay, I'm taking you on a surprise date. I'm like, okay, but give me a general, what kind of shoes do I need to be wearing? Are we going to be inside? Do I need a sweater? Like, come on.
Questions I would never consider. I love surprises, so.
I do. I love surprises as well, but it's like, maybe not every aspect has to be a surprise. Also, I think Hayden knows me well enough by now that he would prepare me. Or I know him well enough by now. I'm like, pretty much anywhere he would take me, jeans and a t-shirt is probably fine.
Yeah, and I feel like he knows you well enough that if you are going mountain climbing,
right?
That he's going to say, maybe don't wear a dress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is it weird that Giles and Jenny are just openly discussing their date while they're walking down the halls of school?
In Centennial High School, all the students would have been gossiping, that's for sure.
Right. And I'm sure they're all already talking about Miss Calendar.
Yeah, because she's a spoke show.
She's a fox. Yeah, for sure.
So that's an interesting point. I feel like we all had theories about what teachers were dating. And
I mean, we knew which ones were friends. They didn't make that a secret, but Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you always gossip about your teachers, but they were very openly talking about
They're like
this.
little
I
high
just thought that was
schoolers
kind of funny.
themselves.
It
Oh.
was. It was very cute.
So
Yeah.
Buffy starts checking in with Giles. He says he's researching Spike. He doesn't have a whole lot to report. And I think he notices that she's a little down in the dumps. He said, take the night off. Maybe you could spend some time with Angel.
I definitely noted that too. I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, steps for him, right?
I said, interesting that he's like offering that up. Like, does that mean Dad approves?
Oh, well, how many times has he saved them?
Angel saved them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. He has clearly showed that his interest is in them staying alive. So,
Which,
that's a good point.
in a place like Sunnydale, if that's all, at the very least, she'll be safe with Angel, which is a good
That's true.
thing. But Buffy...
And she'll be safe with him, and if she were to date somebody new, that would be somebody who probably doesn't know her secret. So at least with Angel, he knows that, well, he already knows.
Yeah.
He's already on the in.
Bit of a calculated move there, maybe, but I think he likes him too. I think they've had enough time. I think Buffy's response is very interesting because she is down in the dumps, and she says, I have it written down. She said, I don't know, he might have other plans, and then she pieces out of there.
Yeah, there's definitely some like, oh well, that was a subtweet.
Oh yeah, there's more there.
Yeah.
She's ruminating.
Yeah, well, and of course we know what's up.
Mm-hmm.
But of course she doesn't pick up the fucking phone and ask him.
Just ask, directly.
Because no, we could never just openly talk about our feelings.
Well, this thing...
Heaven forbid.
This thing that she does with Willow in the next scene, I think that I've done it with you about guys. I don't know if I exchanged handwritten notes, but certainly this thing where I'm asking, like debriefing with you, asking you questions when it very easily could have just been go ask him,
this person.
Yeah,
that's true. I've had you internet stalk some people.
Oh, it's fun. I like it.
Yeah, and there are reasons to...
The last person I internet stalked for you, I was not successful at, and
you helped.
That's a mark of shame for me.
I'm so sorry.
I couldn't find their...
But I have never had you internet stalk my current partner. Because your partner should be a partner that you can bring stuff up to. And I recognize that it's early, but I'm just saying, start a precedent with your relationships, friends. Like, you should be able to talk to your partner about shit, you know? Yeah. So that's just something that I definitely, like, I understand because she's young, and at her time, I probably wouldn't have been good about communication either, but communication is so huge. So it's something I always notice.
Yeah, communication's big. They get into some good communication later on, but it's not ideal at first. And it's the most not ideal that whatever, I don't need to debate with you this early on in the episode. We'll get there.
So they're passing notes and they're in history class. And I love Cordelia defending Marie Antoinette.
I love it so much.
She worked really hard to look that good. Cordelia. You know what? She probably did. Also, funnily enough, apparently Marie Antoinette didn't really say the cake thing. Or like she didn't mean it literally. I found that out
too. Yeah, as I was doing research.
It was like a flippant thing that she said, like something that you would say, oh, well, they might as well eat cake. She wasn't literally saying, oh, just go give them cake. Like she wasn't literally saying that.
I think that quote from her is so funny. And then the teacher back to her, we don't actually see the teacher, but we hear her voice. The teacher says, that's an interesting perspective.
I mean, we should look at all sides of history.
Yeah. It is an interesting perspective. She's not wrong.
Was the good of the people of France truly in Marie Antoinette's hands? Was it really?
I don't know enough about history to weigh in here.
Well, given she was a woman, I would say no. I would say no. I would say that she would have gotten her head chopped off sooner if she'd been like, you should be treating them better.
Yeah.
If she was like, what are you doing?
Insubordination.
Yeah, exactly. She would have been dead just quicker.
Well, sometimes here we are.
So they're walking out of class and Buffy's all mopey and Xander's like, oh, what's going on? And Willow says, Buffy saw Angel with a girl. And then Buffy says, Willow, do we have to be in total share mode? I love that.
I think it's funny when Xander is so stoked that Angel may be doing something wrong.
So stoked. Yeah. And I also love his next line was, crazy dance party at the Bronze. Very calm dance party at the Bronze. Moping at the Bronze.
Moping at the Bronze. Hey, the Bronze, one-stop shop, no matter your mood. Come one, come all.
True. So true.
So at this point, they've all sat down, and Mr. Ford comes up and gives us a peek into an indulgence that Buffy apparently used to have, which sounds fucking disgusting to me.
It does.
Did I hear right? A box of Oreos dunked in apple juice. Oreos in apple juice.
Which in response I wrote, ew, you nasty.
Sacrilegious. Straight to jail.
I mean, I try not to yuck other people's yums, but I can't imagine that that's good. You know what? We're gonna have to try it and put that up on our
don't make me
socials.
do that. You're right. We are gonna have to.
One Oreo. You only have to dunk one.
It's like a no thank you bite. I've had to have nasty no thank you bites before.
Yeah. We shouldn't knock it before we try it.
Only if we do it together.
Yes, we'll meet up on Zoom or something like that. And I have a feeling we won't like it, but who knows? We could be surprised. So I have a question for you.
Ooh.
So you're moping or you're having a bad day. Paul said something stupid. What is your cheer me up snack?
Ooh. I have to think about that because Paul never says anything stupid ever. He can't see him, but he's off camera
bitchy.
Pointing a knife at me. Yeah. Okay.
Rough day at work then.
Yeah. So I go back and forth between do I want salty or do I want sweet? I never know exactly what I'm going to want. No, sometimes though, I'm just going to throw a litany of things at you that I've enjoyed recently.
Okay.
Last week I went through, I told you about this off recording the other day when my stomach hurt, shocking. Last week I went through 2 party-size bags of Ruffles because it was that kind of week.
That's why your stomach hurt.
The peanut butter patty cookies, Girl Scouts, came to mind. Chinese food.
Wait, the sandwich ones or the chocolate covered ones?
Chocolate covered ones.
So
what are those called?
It was tagalongs.
But they're not. They're not
called tagalongs anymore.
What are they called now? Whatever.
I think they might just be
peanut
called
butter patties.
Chocolate, or peanut butter patties, something like that.
Chinese food is another big one. Jimmy John's, even though the guy hunts animals and he's a bad person and we're not supposed to, but listen, their roast beef sandwich is really good.
Your social justice warriorness only goes so far.
Listen, we all have our limits, okay? And yeah. What do you have? Do you have one go-to or?
So.
Oh, ice cream. That's another one lately with chocolate sauce. Sorry, I'm gonna stop talking.
No, you're good. You're good. Ice cream's a good one. So I sort of have one go-to because it's what Hayden brings me.
Oh, I know what it is. I think.
So when I've been having a bad day, sometimes Hayden will surprise me on my dresser because he usually gets home late after me. He'll put on my nightstand a box of red velvet cookies from 7-Eleven.
Oh, nope, didn't know that. Wow.
They are fucking amazing. I don't even like red velvet, like cupcakes or cake or whatever, but those cookies, and they have little white chocolate chips in them, and they are fresh baked from 7-Eleven. They are so good. Don't sleep on 7-Eleven baked goods.
Interesting.
They're delicious.
I have never heard an endorsement of 7-Eleven baked goods. I have to try it now. What a delightful way to wake up after a bad day. You wake up to red velvet cookies on your nightstand.
Mm-hmm.
Hayden!
Yeah, I know.
Hayden, write a book.
That doesn't exactly aid my fitness goals, but it aids my love goals. So there's that.
You need mental health in order to pursue physical health. And
yeah, it's true.
Delicious cookies help with mental health.
I am also a big fan of Ben & Jerry's.
Oh, I love some Ben & Jerry's. What's your favorite flavor?
They are who they are for a reason. If I'm trying to be easy on my stomach, I like their non-dairy milk and cookies. It's Oreos and peanut butter.
Ooh.
Globs of peanut butter and Oreos.
I haven't had that.
Which satisfies my constant do I want Oreos or do I want Reese's?
Yeah.
Why not have both?
Yeah.
But also,
I thought you were going to say for your go-to snack, Nutella.
I don't let myself buy Nutella anymore.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one. All through high school, I would go home, open the Nutella jar, open the peanut butter jar, and just scoop.
Yep.
No, not separate spoons.
No, I
One
said couple spoons.
Oh, yeah. A couple spoonfuls, yeah. So, yeah, that was a big, but yeah, I don't let myself buy Nutella anymore because I do not have moderation when it comes to food. It is something I'm working on.
I think I might need to do the same with Ruffles because I was thinking about it. I was stress eating today. More Ruffles. I finished almost another party size bag in less than a week. I can't do that. I am approaching 30. I can't do that.
Well, because there's this new thing where they're always putting like shareable size. Like I saw that in a vending machine peanut M&M's bag.
You bitches know I'm not sharing this. You know
I'm not sharing this. And it's like, well, it's what I got out of the vending machine. Like, it's what I'm getting for myself. So you know that the serving size is the size of the bag.
Right.
That's the situation we're all in here.
Oh, so rude.
That's why America's fat.
Man.
So yeah. But we also really like Netflix and Chilled for Ben and Jerry's. That's another when you want the salty sweet. It's because it's got peanut butter chunks and it's got pretzel chunks.
Ooh. I only get fish food from Ben & Jerry's just because it's my favorite. I'm going to have to try some of these other ones.
Netflix and Chilled is good. I think Chubby Hubby is very similar where it's got like cookies and peanut butter and pretzels and stuff like that because Hayden really likes anything with pretzels because he definitely has the salty sweet combination, which is, to be fair, it is a tried and true combination that pretty much will never steer you wrong.
It's delicious. Yeah. Okay, so we'll experiment with Buffy's comfort food.
Yes, we will.
So Ford's sweater vest, I don't abide.
Not over a t-shirt.
No. The color, the assembly, along with everything else. I'm not about it. I like his jawline a lot.
Yeah, I think his hair needs to be a little longer to cover those ears, though.
Oh, that's funny. I thought his hair was so 90s hot boy.
It is. Oh, it's 100% like the haircut itself, but like he hit those ears, buddy. He kind of, and like with the one earring and just like the shape of his eyes, he kind of just looks like an elf. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's neither good nor bad.
His earring, I thought of Link from The Legend of Zelda because in one of them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so of course, so Buffy's talking about how he was her big 5th grade crush. She used to totally moon over him. She used to listen to that song, I Touch Myself for hours, which is so funny. Definitely a joke I did not get when I was first going through this show.
Yeah.
Probably didn't even know that song. But I love later Willow going, oh, that's what that song's about.
Oh, Willow, you're so charming and adorable.
Sweet summer child.
So at the Bronze, they're at the pool table.
Oh, wait, before, so they're talking about their plans to go to the Bronze tonight. And Buffy's like, you should come. And he's like, oh, only if I wouldn't be imposing. And Xander goes, only in a literal sense.
Oh, yeah. There's some nice...
We've all had that moment of like, no, you're really not welcome, but what am I going to do? Say no?
Right, you've just been
in front of all these people?
Of me. Yeah, how am I supposed to? We're trapped now. Well, I was going to say that this Xander line in the next scene that I like. They're by the pool table, and Ford is saying something like, oh, you can't get rid of me. I know all your darkest secrets. And Xander says, can I make a wager on that?
Yeah. Of course, we find out later that he would not make that money.
It would be a bad wager, yeah.
This is an excellent scene for Xander, though, because Ford is watching Buffy runs into Angel by the drinks, and he says, he looks older than her. You're not wrong. And then they shake hands. He's like, whoa, cold hands. You're not wrong.
Yeah, this is a good one for Xander. Yeah. I don't think you're going to hear any Xander slander from me in this episode,
this
Allie. Yeah, this one's good.
Yeah. His intuition, his jealousy only steers him in a correct way. And he's not shitty about it.
No,
I don't think he's nasty about it. But I do have an issue with Buffy once again. Something's definitely wrong, and she's just, instead of bringing something up, and maybe she didn't have to be super direct. Well, she was like, "What'd you do last night?" He's like, "I stayed in." And she's like, "Oh, really? And just fucking ask. Just fucking ask.
I'm staring at Allie with my mouth agape right now that you are irritated at Buffy for asking pointed questions, and you're not irritated by Angel straight up lying, boldly lying to her face. He lied. He said nothing. He said he stayed in. Buffy saw him out.
Yeah. Well, we all know I'm always on Angel's side. If that is not clear yet, that is where my allegiance lies.
I'm always on Buffy's side. I love our dynamic.
Yes, you are right. He could have responded more truthfully, because
truthfully at all.
In reality, what probably happened, it was one of those half-truths where he's like, yes, I went out to confront Drusilla, but then he probably did go home and spend the rest of the night reading. So it was probably one of those like, well, I'm telling the truth, but just not the whole truth, blah, blah, blah. Which, yes, you are right. That is shitty. He could have offered the information when she was probably clearly talking about it. But that doesn't make her in the right for beating around the bush. And then she just lets it go when he's like, yeah, I wasn't doing anything. I was just in reading. And instead of going, oh, really? Because I saw you talking to Drusilla.
Okay, we can end on some common ground here. I would be much more willing to accept Angel's lie if he told his lie shirtless.
Fair. I will accept most lies. If you are David Boreanaz shirtless. But also, Buffy needs to stop turning to the nearest guy to make Angel jealous. Because what does she immediately do after this conversation doesn't go the way that she wants? She immediately goes over to Ford and is like, oh, this is Ford. Ford, let's go walk. Girl.
Well,
this
Ford
is not
her,
your response.
Her friend from a long time ago. She's hosting
He doesn't
a new
know
friend.
that. He doesn't know that.
Well,
the same way when she did her little sexy dance with Xander, she knows that she could never feel romantically about Xander, but it was pretty obvious she was trying to make him jealous.
No, I support playing with men's feelings. All the way. So we've referenced this before. Don't shake your head at me. We've referenced this before. There are certain episodes in season 2 where the makeup, there's things happening. He looks pale, right? In this one, Angel looks really pale.
Yes, especially in a couple scenes when he goes to Willow's bedroom.
And Willow's makeup is weird there too.
Yeah, yep. I had both of those notes.
That is so funny. Same wavelength.
She has weirdly dark lipstick for going to bed.
If only your opinions about Buffy and Angel weren't garbage. It would be.
But then this would be a less interesting podcast, Nicholas.
Oh, I love you so much.
We wouldn't have all these dear listeners.
So this is a question I have that I think will resonate with you. Outside, Buffy and Ford are talking, and Buffy gives him kind of a confusing answer to the question of if they're dating. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was pretty clear that they were dating.
But I think he asked, is he your boyfriend?
You're right.
And I do think those are two different questions.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, he did say, are you dating? Not, I don't know. They made out on her bed in the previous episode. That was a hosting a boyfriend.
So for people who are less relationshipy than us, I think there's gray area.
That's just
or
dating.
there's a more warming up period of like it's dating, but like he didn't pin me yet. He's not my boyfriend. We're not official.
Yeah.
They didn't have Facebook at this time to be Facebook official, but I can see where I think she could have confidently said, yes, we're dating.
Yeah.
But he does specifically say his boyfriend. And I don't think, like, they say the L word possibly for the first time to each other this episode.
It is 1,000% for the first time. But then,
yeah. So I don't think it's surprising that she does not feel confident in saying that he's her boyfriend.
Okay. Well, I always thought somebody was your boyfriend before you dropped the L bomb.
I think so, but they don't communicate well.
True.
So I can see where if you'd made out a bunch, you've told each other you love you, but you haven't said boyfriend, you could probably just assume. You'd be like, well, he told me he loves me and we make out all the time.
But you haven't had the conversation. It was just a weird interaction and you're with your longtime friend and it's just like, it's a little more confusing.
And especially when she thinks that she just saw him have whatever she thinks just happened.
Yeah.
She's in a particularly shaky moment.
She's like, that maybe we're not. Maybe I thought we were, but apparently not. Yeah.
Right,
okay.
exactly. Or she's like, maybe I thought I knew what was up, but maybe I was wrong.
Yeah.
What I do like is when he's like, well, didn't I just see you slaying a vampire? She goes, what? Whatting a what?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
okay.
good.
And then I have, clearly this is a hypothetical question because we don't have answers to this. Okay, so Ford found out that she was a slayer before she got booted from Emory. But how did he find out? I mean, like, was he already into this vampire thing? So he was, like, stalking vampires and saw her slaying vampires? Like, even if he saw her in a fight with something, I still don't know how he would have gotten the name. Like, he even knew the term slayer, not, oh, you fight vampires. He knew the term slayer.
Yeah, he's part of the community. I wondered if this was somehow setting a precedent that anybody could know if they did enough research or looked hard enough. I kind of think that, so we find out later that he has a unique health situation going on and there's there might be some desperation there is definitely some, like maybe that he was driven to learn more about his options for staying alive of sorts. And that naturally led him, like, that's the only thing I can come to that helps me.
But then he would have gotten his diagnosis at least 2.5 years ago.
Oh, true. Well, he could have.
Because he said before she got booted.
He could have. You never know.
He could have, yeah. You can
could
fight
have been
for
a long
while.
battle, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was just like an interesting, I mean, I guess it could have been a similar situation as how Xander overheard, but her watcher wasn't part of school. He wasn't a teacher. He was outside of school.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I guess there's a lot of options.
I was like, so does that mean that potentially more people know than we're led to believe and they just don't tell her? Or did he somehow find out through something weird that, I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe just question. Like as her bestie, he was paying attention more than most people would. So he put some dots together. Clearly he's a horror fan.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So now we move to the Lonely Ones Club. Goodness gracious.
I thought it was so interesting how they transitioned to this scene. They finished. This was one of those, like we were talking about at the last episode with Colleen. I think I view things through nostalgia glasses, and now I watch things and I'm like, oh, I never noticed that before. That's so profound. But to the average person, it's like, duh. I thought it was really interesting how it like Buffy's last line was saying something about how, like, they were talking about how it's nice that to not have secrets with him. Like, he knows the secret already. And then it transitions right away. Like, clearly Ford has a
secret. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's lovely. But yeah, okay. I think there is maybe some normal people would notice the lovely transition that was like, I mean, clearly it was designed that way, but that makes it no less quality. That is a lovely moment that they crafted.
Yeah, true. Good point, Allie.
And actually, in the summary that you wrote today, you answered my question to this. Does this vampire fan club constitute a cult? Well, you used that word in the summary, so I think you agree. It's pretty culty.
Yeah, you feel like it's culty too.
I do, because they're building towards this. Well, they are hoping to ascend to a higher plane through being made into vampires, whereas other cults, it's more like, oh, Zebop is going to take us off on their ship and take us off to planet Borp, or I'm getting those terms wrong, but you know what I'm talking about.
But in order to make it to planet Borp, you have to kill yourself first and do like a mass suicide. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it feels
pretty similar.
Feels totally cultish. I have a question about this set.
Mm-hmm.
Is this the same set that we have seen for the Bronze in some? No. Because the stairs are the same.
They are industrial, but they are not the same.
But even where it's like positioned in the frame itself, like at one point we see during the earthquake, Xander grabs Willow and goes and hides under the stairs, and they're in like the exact same position.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
You don't think it's just a different
Angle?
No,
Some
you don't
different
think
set dressing?
they exchanged out like in the
No,
bronze?
the
We know
stuff
there's
is,
a
like,
bar.
When you go
and-
upstairs. No, because first of all, the room is smaller. And second of all, when they go up the stairs, it's more like a catwalk rather than a whole second level. The bronze has a whole second level.
Yeah,
There's more room.
Well, no,
the
in
bronze
some
is
of
just
the
bigger.
in some
in
of the
general.
scenes in the bronze, we see it's a catwalk on the second level. There's a time. Okay, all right.
No, there's a balcony, but it's not. That doesn't make it a catwalk. It's smaller. It's definitely smaller than the bronze.
Okay, so they constructed a whole other. Okay, fine, whatever. Fuck you, Sunset Club. You're creepy, anyways.
So I don't know if you noticed this. So what is his name? Lawrence, and he's like, it's Diego. I don't know much about cultural appropriation, but I'm pretty sure basic white dude renaming himself Diego.
Yeah.
I don't think that's okay.
Yeah. Feels like that's going to be offensive to some. Maybe not the most offensive part because he's also
About
wearing
this
a
whole
cape, which is
situation?
very. Oh, I just meant about him in his outfit. That's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess about the situation, you're right. True.
I think, yeah, that's probably if someone like walked in and like overheard that like this guy in this group was called Diego. I think that's probably the last point on their list of what's fucked up about this situation.
But it is a point on the list.
It is a point.
It is somewhere.
It is there. It comes up on the list eventually.
At one point, it's towards the end of the scene, and Dracula is playing in the background as Ford is like quoting over it. I'm gonna confess, I've never seen Dracula, the original.
Oh, well, which one?
This is I looked it up. I think it's the
Which one is it?
1971.
Okay.
I think was the
There are. I have not seen that one. I've seen clips from Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is a popular one from the 90s because Keanu Reeves is in it. There's a lot wrong with it, in my opinion. Dracula has this whole like butt situation going on his wig, and there's just like a lot going on. Nosferatu is pretty much the same storyline. I have seen that. Great movie. It is silent. It is black and white, but their monster situation is terrifying. Nosferatu is, I think, scarier than most vampires you see in the rest of media. And then I did see it's one of the Draculas. It has Christopher Lee as Dracula. You would recognize him as Count Dooku, or possibly as Saruman from Lord of the Rings.
Yep. Oh, were they the same?
The long white-haired.
Yeah. Sorry.
If you ever look him up on YouTube, he has had a bananas life. Like James Bond is like based off of him. It's wild. Look up Christopher Lee on YouTube. It is insane the life that this guy has.
James Bond is based off of him,
and he like knew the author. Yeah,
wow.
He was like his family was either royalty or they were like friends with royalty. He was definitely like English upper crust. He served in the British Royal Forces and all this stuff. He has had an insane life before he even got to acting.
That is neat.
And then if you look at just his acting career, he has had an incredible acting career.
That is very neat. Yeah, he's
It's crazy.
Badass.
Yeah,
neat.
It's totally wild.
I'll have to do some googling.
His version of Dracula is pretty good. It was a little slow. It was okay. It was a little melodramatic, which is kind of an of its time kind of thing.
Well, there's extensive notes about other Dracula friends. I have a movie day to have with.
I am very my TSEM, my freshman college writing seminar.
Right, it was about vampires.
It was the history of vampires in media. So it's very
fun.
cool.
I took a financial management TSEM. That was stupid.
You were not taking advantage of what college had to offer.
I did in some ways. Did in some ways. Whatever. We don't have to talk about it.
Whatever.
So later
Buffy
that night,
has fabulous coats in this episode.
She does.
She does. But that is skipping. So later that night, Angel goes to see Willow, which, how does he know her address?
Good question. We've already talked about how they both have heavy makeup on and it looks funny.
Super weird. Clearly they eventually noticed because they don't do that again.
Right.
But actually, Nick, this is during the days where like phone books were still a thing. So he knows her name. He may have been able to look up the Rosenbergs.
Oh, I thought you meant
Sunnydale
as justification why they were wearing heavy makeup.
No, sorry. No, for how he would have known her he would have known her house.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So Angel asks for help finding information about Ford, and Willow is like, I think you might be jealous, but then she starts searching and finds out some very strange things about Ford right away. And then we have this theme about
also me being pro Angel here. She's like, you think you might be jealous? And he's like, yeah, I am. I was never this way. I had no feelings for centuries, and now this girl. And he's like, yeah. So yeah, I am jealous. And she sees in his face all that care and love, and she goes, okay. And then she starts, and then immediately finds shit about him. So it's like, obviously his instincts are spot on.
Can be a both and. You can both be jealous and right about this strange dude.
Absolutely. But the important thing is that he admitted that he was jealous.
Yes. Gold star for Angel. The theme of lying comes up again. Willow says she's not going to tell Buffy that she's looking for information, but the next day she's so guilty, and it's very funny.
It is funny. And I love Buffy's reaction of, are you having coffee again? We talked about this. You can't drink coffee. And she's like, yeah, makes me jittery.
Have to go, bye.
Like, so cute.
So Giles walks up, and they're having this exchange, and like Buffy is like, Ford. Buffy's with Ford, and Buffy's like, yeah, Ford knows. There for sure is a poster in the background of the scene that says it's a picture of a rotary phone, and it says, if you've been drinking, get behind the wheel. I don't know if it was just an oversight, but I paused it, I zoomed. It says, if you've been drinking, get behind the wheel.
So I think that's them making a play on words, and it's like the wheel of the rotary phone, and it's probably advertising for
a jail phone.
No, like a safe ride phone.
Oh.
Phone number.
Oh.
Like, get behind the wheel, like the dial of the rotary phone, and call for a ride.
That sounds convoluted.
That was a thing before Lyft and before. Yeah, I'm not saying it's the best, but I think.
I tried to find a poster too with some creative Googling, and I couldn't to verify it.
Yeah, I mean, it could also just be a typo of like, don't get behind the wheel. But I think if they're talking about drunk driving and there's a phone on there, I think they were probably advertising for a safe ride service.
But probably don't include in your advertising words like. Don't have your marketing campaign rest on a picture so that people know that you're not saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Don't, like, you know.
Yeah. No, I think those are the dots that they were trying to connect, but I definitely agree with you. Probably not the strongest marketing.
That's okay. Good try for this little extra poster in the background of this scene that's
so funny.
Nobody's paying attention to. So they're outside. Ford and Buffy are outside. It's jump to night, and they're walking around or doing whatever, and some vampires run by. They go to track them down. There's two of them. Ford and Buffy get separated, and Buffy goes tumbling over a rail with one of them, and then Ford is left with another one who's just had her ass kicked by Buffy, and she's on the ground. And Ford demands information from the vampire, and then lies to Buffy.
Liar, liar, pants on fire.
I was so offended. I knew it was coming, but I was still offended.
But what's kind of nice, because I always get I hate like these plot lines where it's like secrets and stuff. I'm like, just tell people things. But it's also because like I'm just an open book. I just like don't keep secrets because like I can't be bothered to keep secrets of my own. But it does reveal a very clear, well, he was clearly lying when she sees him later. She doesn't have to base it on a hearsay or like, we found this information, because then you can kind of explain that away. But then she has this very clear, oh, well, I saw that vampire and she's supposed to be dead.
It's even more certain than the lying that happened with Angel and Drusilla, where there's still some mystery about who was this innocent? Who was it? What's happening here? It is, you're right. It is very clear. She sees the vampire later and she's like, okay, he's a piece of shit. Okay.
Right. Like, this is very, very sus, as the kids would say.
Very sus.
So, I Are we back at the Sunset Club?
We are.
So I love. Okay, so first of all, this is a very amusing trio: Willow, Xander, and Angel. So they're coming in, and he's like, "We stick out like sore thumbs." And Willow says a line that has stayed in my head forever. Just okay, but do they really stick out? Sore thumbs. Do they really stick out? I mean, have you ever looked at a thumb and thought, "Wow, that baby is sore"? Which is an amazing line on itself. But do you have Xander's response line?
You have too many thoughts. We were just talking about Allie.
So much.
My latest revelation in therapy was that I'm anxious and have too many thoughts myself. So the fact that I watched this episode, just...
My doctor eventually had to tell me, because we were talking about, like, when we were first getting my my anxiety meds, right? And she's like, okay, do you know, how are you feeling? Do you think it's working? Blah, blah, blah. And I said something like, well, I still have like a lot of thoughts and like racing thoughts and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, well, no medication's going to help that. And I was like, oh, well, then I guess they're working fine.
You're like, oh. you mean my anxiety will go away completely?
You mean I will always
refund.
have I will
ridiculous.
Always have 10 tabs open in Chrome in my head?
Yeah.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not dealing with that. No, fix it. Give me different meds. Come on.
Yeah. She was like, no, that we can't give you anything for that. And I was like, oh, well, then whatever.
I also think it's funny. So all three of them, well, Angel isn't really out of place. Xander's certainly out of place. Mm-hmm. Willow is hilariously out of place in that club with her adorable sweater and her colorful tights. And it's just, I love her.
Very cute. And then they run into, what's her name? Something with a
Chanterelle.
Chanterelle. It is.
Which, by the way, is an exotic mushroom.
Yes, it is.
And
yes, it is.
I'm not going to say any more about that.
And she's
no, to viewers, not because I do mushrooms. No, that's like a call out to later. Never mind. Keep going.
Oh, yeah. It was more about who she is, not about mushrooms.
Yeah.
So girlfriend, she is really drunk the Kool-Aid. And she says, they who walk with the night aren't interested in hurting anyone. Lol. That is the only thing they're interested in.
Yeah, you have really... But this...
so missed the mark. Like, so diluted.
Living in the political environment that we live in, I could see there being vampires... And a certain sect of people would be like, no, they're not going to hurt you.
Well, especially if you have managed to stay in the realm of not having encountered real life vampires. Because, it's just a lot of mysterious deaths in Sunnydale. It's not like it's entirely common knowledge that the mysterious deaths are vampires and demons. So I can see how if you were lonely little goth girl, listening to a lot of like Kurt Cobain, and you ended up on a lot of message boards, and you found this stuff of, they live forever so they can be with each other and not lonely anymore, and not being in the sun makes them more tragic and lonely. Like, I can see how you could fall.
Or if you had heard directly from the vampires and they said, yeah, I'm a vampire, but
I don't think they've met any
people
real
are
vampires.
invading, and if they just said a bunch of racist shit, then people would get over the fact that they also said that I'm going to kill you.
But they didn't actually hear
from real vampires. Is that too on the nose for our political?
No, that's fine. Right now? I think that's accessible.
Yeah. I could see how somebody would drink the Kool-Aid. I like her line here where Angel says, we are a fool. And she says, I've used this line before.
I know you have. That's why I know this one so well.
You don't have to be so confrontational about it. Other viewpoints than yours may be valid,
We have definitely said that
Not
to each other.
Not all viewpoints are valid. Some viewpoints are stupid. They're
it's like
wrong.
when people say there are no stupid questions. Hundo P.
There are stupid questions. There are stupid viewpoints that are incorrect.
Right. And it's like if someone said like, well, the sky is green. No, it's not. That's just incorrect.
It's not. I'm sorry.
Unless maybe you're colorblind, but
if that's your opinion, your opinion is wrong. Sorry.
Right. When you say that real life vampires don't want to hurt you, you're wrong.
Yeah, you are a fool. That is a foolish thing to say.
You are foolish.
Yeah.
You bought into something stupid. You've been sold a bill of goods. Like, yeah.
Chanterelle.
Chanterelle, poor thing.
I'm excited to
Yeah. And of
see
course,
you again.
this moment is so funny with angels. Like, they don't know anything about vampires, what we do, how they dress. Just as a guy who's dressed just like Angel walks down.
Oh,
Beautiful.
it's so funny. It's
Beautiful.
So funny. So in the next scene, we're in the library. Giles and Buffy has summoned Giles and Jenny back from their date. This date that Jenny took him on is so funny. A monster
Hilarious.
truck rally.
But-
Somehow so miscalendar to do that.
Absolutely. I can see where she might think, yeah, let's shake things up a bit. I think she maybe went a little far, but
Overshot it a little bit there.
Overshot a little bit. But you know what? I read Aziz Ansari's book, Modern Love, and he gives an example of monster trucks of like, what you always take. He's like, people are like, why don't I ever get a second date? Blah, blah. It's like, well, do you do your first date at the same bar? You always go for drinks. You always do the same thing. He's like, well, try doing something different. You could go to a monster truck rally or, you know, whatever. You can do something different, because even if it sucks, then you're like bonding over that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, maybe it was super cringy, but then you've done it together. And
Right, exactly. Yeah.
I go to a monster truck rally. Hey, Paul, if you're listening,
totally.
take me to a monster truck rally.
Right. Like, it's probably not the kind of thing I'm going to like every time they're in town, but like once, that sounds kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then I love Giles. So the vampire comes in, steals a book, runs out, and Giles goes, a book! They took one of my books!
He's so horrified.
So funny.
You love your books, Giles.
Yeah.
So, poor Buffy. Well, no, never mind. I wrote down this note and I'm going to read it and you're going to take issue with it. I said, poor Buffy with these lying men. Because at this point, she's found out that Ford is lying and
Yes.
fine, we can give Angel. Maybe he didn't. I will meet you halfway. That maybe when in the bronze, it was the half lie, but that was my note and I read it.
I mean, lying men in general, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, not about them as a category. Not a fan. You know what I am a fan of? In this next scene, when we see Spike and Drusilla, I just have the note, damn those cheekbones.
Oh, they're nice. They're even
James
nice.
Marsters.
Yeah. Man.
You are a fine specimen, and I don't care if you hear this.
I would be thrilled. I would be thrilled if you heard this, and
That's
I'm
true.
gonna chime in too. James Marsters, you fine specimen.
Yep. Yeah. And, you know, on top of like his incredibly good looks, he's also very talented, but he did have a good running start.
His character here to Drusilla too, it continues to be really charming and sweet.
Super sweet. And I love this moment where she's like, oh, why won't the birdie sing? And he actually very gently says, well, it's dead, Drew. You didn't feed it, and so it died, just like the last one. And then she gets upset, and he goes, I'm sorry. I'm stressed. And like just like very quickly apologizes. And when he was talking about the dead bird, he was not yelling. He was not calling her stupid. He was just pointing out clear facts of like, well, to be fair, you didn't feed it, and now it's dead.
And he says he'll get her another one.
And that, yes, exactly. And it just like, I know everybody talks about like Harley Quinn and the Joker. That's messed up. People should talk about Spike and Drusilla. They are couple goals. They are super supportive of each other. They have common interests.
Eyeballs to entrails.
Eyeballs to entrails, my sweet. And so Ford comes in, storms in. Turns out that's the information that he got from the vampire that he did not stake. And he says, I know who you are. And Spike says, yeah, I know who I am too. So what?
Yeah, their exchange here is funny. And eventually Ford says, funny. You make me a vampire and I'll give you the Slayer. Fucking asshole. Fuck you, dude.
I've known you for 2 minutes and I can't stand you. I don't feature you living forever. Too true.
He's only
thinking about consequences. I love it.
The viewers have only seen Ford for, I don't know, 32 minutes or so at this point, and I don't fancy him being around forever either.
Yeah, I have a note here, and maybe this is because I've seen it and I know where the episode's going. I never liked Ford. Like, did you ever fall for it? Did you ever have a time when you were watching this episode where, like, in the beginning, you were like, oh, yeah, you're a friend?
No, it's pretty clear early on.
It's pretty clear.
Even if it's not clear right away that he's evil, sometimes you just have a sense about a guy right away. You're skeezy, or I don't.
Yeah, there's something in his expression and the way he carries himself. You're just like, I don't feel comfortable with you.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
So the next scene, we have the aforementioned dining room scene where Angel comes over to talk to Buffy. God, don't you just hate X talk?
It's never going to go
it's
well,
usually
right?
not this extreme.
So, Buffy is, so at this point, she finds out that Willow and Xander have also not been she's just not sure who she can trust at all. And
that's right, because backing up before we get to the dining room, she says that, or Willow says that Xander, when he came over last night, he was just really concerned. And
no, that's the next scene.
No.
Nope. In that scene right before
are we not at the dining room?
No, we're in the dining room scene. She finds out that Willow and Xander have been in cahoots with Angel to dig up information about Ford.
Okay, yes.
And then in the next scene they address it, and it's icy.
Right.
No, you're right, though. You're right. That is what happens.
I skipped over that in my notes. Yeah, so they're having this, woof, this is quite the X talk, and I can imagine why he wouldn't want to tell her his backstory with Drusilla. But I do agree with her of, like, I need to know.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm not going to like it. I need to know.
This is crucial information at this point.
It is so much better to know. Like, just fucking tell me. I said it from the beginning with Hayden. I don't care what it is. Just fucking tell me, and then we can deal with it.
Yeah, I've said the same. Paul and I have the same boundary.
I can't handle a situation.
Yeah.
Right. I can't handle a situation if you don't give me all the information.
And if I find out about it, it's going to be a hell of a lot worse than
exactly
if you just tell me. So Angel says, and I feel conflicted about this statement. Angel says, sometimes the truth is worse. And you're right. Sometimes it is worse.
It is.
But, like, still probably.
Right. I'm not going to stop asking for it. I may afterwards regret asking, but I'm not going to not ask for it. I can't not know.
Yeah.
I would always rather know. Because, then what if she finds out later from reading a book or something? And then it's like, well, you could have told me.
In some showdown with Drusilla where finding out troubling information is going to throw you off, and it's potentially like
right, and you don't know if she's lying because she's evil or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta know.
Angel has a quote here that he's totally right about Ford. He says, "You can't trust him." So true.
Very true.
So
Very
true.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the next day, Ford and Buffy are they're right at the entrance to school, and this is really where everybody
so tense.
Yeah, so cryptic,
this
so
camera
tense.
Angle on
the music,
yeah. You're like, well, if we were trying to like him before, we're not now.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then this is when she runs into Willow and Xander, and things are not okay between them. And so it's like one of those situations where she found out that her friends were right.
Yeah. That
Ford's a creep.
Yeah.
But they still went behind her back. And that's still like, what? Who?
Yeah.
Let's process this.
No one ever
right?
likes that.
What are the thoughts?
So I think there's good and bad on both sides because it is Buffy's longtime friend. So I can see where if you had feelings and if they had concerns, I can see wanting to see if there was anything there before bringing it up to Buffy, because Buffy's not going to take it well if you just throw out, I don't trust that guy, with nothing to back it up. But it is still I do think it was probably the most effective way to go about things, because they never would have found those things about him if they hadn't looked. They never would have found the Sunset Club if they hadn't looked. So I think ultimately they did the right thing, or they did the smart thing, but Buffy still is well within her rights to be hurt by the fact that they went behind her back.
Yeah. Okay, agreed all around. Spot on analysis, Allie.
But again, about the I'd just rather know, just fucking tell me. Willow could have called her immediately after finding that stuff out.
Yeah, that he wasn't enrolled at the school that he said he was enrolled at. That's sketchy right away.
Or found her first thing the next day at school.
Yeah.
It sort of becomes that lying by omission if you wait too long to give the information.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
yes, we shouldn't have gone behind your back, but look what I found.
Yeah. Yeah. Messy.
Mhm. For sure. But we get this cute quote. So Willow says, like, oh, well, when Angel came over, blah, 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 he was just really concerned. And Xander goes, he was in your room. And Willow, very plain face, goes, ours is a forbidden love.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. My dogs are flipping out.
Okay.
Can I
I've
have 2
been
seconds?
seeing Sammy sit by the door.
They're
So
fucking
you're good.
annoying. I'll be right back.
yeah, you're good.
Fucking annoying dog.
Do. Checking my email. No, they didn't respond to me. That's fine, cause I didn't respond to them. Didn't respond to them. Look at those cute dogs. Look at them being so cute. Assuming you're ready to move on. Now it is that night. Actually, it's not even that night because Buffy says, I couldn't wait till tonight. She shows up at the Sunset Club and Girla is having a great hair day. And she's also wearing the plaid pants that I love so much.
She's had a few incredible hair looks this episode. There was a like kind of a cascading part in one of them that I loved.
That 90s zigzag part.
Yeah, I
never make
it
it happen with my hair. That is a straight girl thing, but straight hair girl
thing.
Yeah.
Allie, did you just come out to me?
Yeah, I did.
Yes. I'm honored that I could be in this setting. So she's walking down the steps and she's talking about, oh, everybody has flaws, and she has a really good Slayer vibe here. She's like, everybody has flaws. You're a lying scumbag. Wow, savage.
Yeah. She also has a good line. I don't need to understand. I just need to know.
More themes about truthfulness coming up.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I need all of the cards on the table.
So Ford has a line here. He says, "This is so cool. It's just like it played in my head." And he had a similar line when he was talking to Spike too. And he's about to try and get sympathy from all of us, but this is all just a game for him.
Yep.
There is something sadistic about him.
Yeah, I have the note. So Ford was always a psychopath?
Yeah, right?
Ford was always a psychopath. Yeah, because I even have the note later. I could vomit for 24 hours straight and still not want to murder a room full of wannabes.
Yes, true.
Yeah. And Buffy has another great sass Slayer line. She's talking about Diego. She goes, and my God, could you have a dorkier outfit?
Oh, man. I hope he reevaluates his life choices after this episode.
I hope so, too.
So Buffy is trying to think creatively to how to get out. At this point, they've locked the door behind her that only opens from the outside. Ford is following her around. Buffy's like, being a vampire isn't what it's going to appear to be. And he says, it's better than nothing. And then I still do hate this guy, but this line, this like reversal here, this was a twist and it was a gut punch.
I guess. I just, the whole time, it's kind of like how a lot of serial killers blame like bad parents, blame abuse, blah, blah. I'm sorry. A lot of people were molested as children and don't choose to murder people. A lot of people maybe it's because like I'm thinking of this whole room of people that are just like being preyed on essentially by this one guy's malicious thing, because he knows that he is the only one that's going to get turned. He knows that. Yes. And I guarantee the rest of them do not. It's not like it's a room full of dying people.
Yeah.
The rest of them are probably perfectly healthy and probably have like, I don't know, loving parents, at least some of them. They're just probably undiagnosed mental health issues.
Or maybe they've had equally tragic lives in their own right. And now this guy has decided that his life is worth more than the rest of theirs. And he's
exactly. This whole thing that he's talking about of just like, what, don't I deserve to live? I'm like, you are one person. No, you don't deserve to live. Or it's just like,
not any more than the rest of them. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Not any more or less than anybody else. It just the whole, and his tone and his face, just the whole time I was just like, wah, wah. I don't know. I was not. I did not feel bad for him.
I felt more conflicted about it, and I wrote this note too. Buffy takes a second, and she says, "I'm sorry, I didn't know," or "I'm sorry, I had no idea, but what you're still doing is very wrong."
Exactly.
Or, "But what you're doing is still very wrong." And her instant moral clarity around it is really spot on, and something that I also associate with you, Allie. You tend to know right away when I've texted you conflicted, or I'm like, should I do this? Should I do it? And usually you're like, no, don't do that.
Yes,
that's a bad idea.
can spot it in other people, which I think is a very human thing of like, it's easy to identify in other people. And then I have my people, you are one included, where if I'm trying to debate on a situation, I go, is this a dumb bitch move? Or am I crazy? And then usually you guys go, no, you're not crazy. Or you go, maybe don't do that. Yeah.
I'm grateful to be in that circle. Buffy's quote here, I think, is one of the most powerful of this season. I might say, should I say, I don't know if I'll say series. One of the most powerful quotes of the season for me. She says, "You have a choice. You don't have a good choice, but you have a choice."
Is a great line. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah. It can definitely, because, it can feel like you don't have a choice, but you do. This goes to my feelings that I just explained. Because Ford says, "You know what, Summers? I really did miss you." And then I wrote, eye roll.
Fuck you, dude.
Whatever, dude.
So my good feelings for him completely evaporated when she's going down the steps to warn people one last time, and Ford pushes her down the steps.
Yeah, no.
I wish pain for you.
Yes, yeah. Also, I did another fashion note. She's wearing white boots. And after that fall, I'm like, those white boots would not survive a fight. The second she rolled down, those are going to be scuffed to hell.
Oh, no.
That was not a smart call, Buffy. But, you know what was a smart call? She's surrounded, so Spike and his gang comes in. First of all, one of Spike's henchmen is Lucius. That is a good vampire name. Diego, meh. Lucius, excellent vampire name.
It's a good vampire name. I like, as they're coming in, Chanterelle goes up the steps, and the second Spike walks in and she sees his vamp face, there's just this instant terror she gets in her eyes.
Yep.
That is incredible acting, but also just, I don't know, I found that moment really powerful.
It is a really powerful moment because it's that we get to see on her face that moment of, oh, wow.
I fucked up.
Oh, I fucked up. Oh, this isn't what I thought it was. Oh, reality isn't what I was fantasizing about, or all of that, like, be careful what you wish for, those kinds of things. And why it's obvious that none of them have, well, other than Ford, none of them have met an actual vampire.
Mm-hmm.
None of you would be here if you had met a vampire. But then Buffy makes this very smart play because Spike comes in fully loaded. There's a lot of people, a lot of innocents in the room. So Buffy, very smart, takes Drew and takes
Buffy brilliance.
Another excellent Slayer leap off a chair onto the balcony.
We love a Slayer leap, including the sound effect too.
Yeah. And I also love that the chair thingy that she launches herself is like this spiral, like 3-person thing. And when you sit, you're like all face each other. I love that. I love that chair. I want that chair.
So Buffy has Drusilla, and Buffy says to let everybody go. And there's a lot of liars in this episode. Spike is not one of them. Spike remains true to Drusilla. He says he fulfills her demand, lets everybody go.
Yep.
And Buffy locks everybody down in the dungeon.
Yep.
All the vampires.
Now this is an instance that makes sense why she let Spike go. Because she was seriously outnumbered. There's a whole ton of innocents that need to get out. This was absolutely right call, letting him go.
We talked about in the last episode how sometimes she does that, and it's like, why?
Right. Sometimes I'm like, you probably could have taken him, or you could have at least tried. You could have put up a bigger fight before you decide to call it. I don't know. But, I would make different decisions as a Slayer than she would. That's fine.
So, Ford is left down in the in the bomb shelter with everybody, and he says he tells Spike, I fulfilled my end of the bargain. I brought her to you, so I'm still expecting to be turned here.
Yeah. And like you said, to his credit, Spike admits it. He's like, yeah, you're right. You did hold up your end of the bargain. And we find out
he does indeed convert Ford.
Now, so she finds his body probably like the next day. Clearly, he gets buried, all that stuff. How long does it take to rise then?
That's a good question. I feel like
I know funerals and burying and stuff like happen fairly quickly, but I know that that's why they have like cold rooms and stuff so that they don't have to happen immediately, but
it takes a few days.
Yeah.
Usually to get all the arrangements
like
together
least,
and
yeah. So how long does it take for a vampire to rise? I don't know. I guess it's a few days.
Yeah, I
don't really have an answer to that.
I don't know. We could find I don't know. These will be great unanswered questions that one day when we have somebody who created Buffy, not he who must not be named, but somebody else on this podcast.
People. We'll have Janice Benson.
I would.
She was a major writer, and she was. There's a lot of like Marty Noxon, David Greenwalt, who went to go on to co-create Grimm. So they were also big writers that get.
We'll have one of them on one day. We're gonna manifest it.
Yep.
This dialogue between Giles and Buffy is really powerful too to me.
Yes.
Just about trust, and things are complicated, and sometimes good guys are do bad things, and bad guys do good things, and how do you know who to trust? And just, man, growing up sucks.
Yeah, being a human sucks. It's like you said, it's complicated, it's messy, so much fucking going on. I love her line, it'd be simpler if I could just hate him. And I think everybody who's ever been through a breakup can totally vibe with that, because it is so nice and simple when you're in that phase of like, I'm just angry. It's so much harder to be hurt.
Yeah. When it gets more nuanced, though, that's when it gets really tough. So Giles, I think his timing is incredible. Giles is joking that, Buffy says, is it ever going to get easier? And she says, lie to me. And Giles is saying, yeah, of course it gets easier. You're always going to know who's the bad guy and who's the good guy. I actually have it written
down.
Good. Yeah.
He says, yes, it's terribly simple. The good guys are always stalwart and true. The bad guys are easily distinguished by their pointy horns or black hats. We always defeat them and save the day. No one ever dies, and everyone lives happily ever after.
And just as it fades to black, Buffy says,
liar.
So good.
So good. I love that. And like you said, it's such a good moment where she's like her saying, lie to me, because she knows that's not true. But we've all had that moment of, I know the truth. Just
indulge me,
right?
Please.
Just let me for 2 minutes live this little fantasy. Don't shit on my parade, because trust me, I'm aware of the situation. You don't have to tell me.
And Giles does. He indulges her, but he knows that she knows, and it's just a beautiful moment between the two of them.
Yeah, it is definitely probably one of the first things that comes to mind when I think of their relationship. I think of this graveyard scene.
Yeah. This one, as I was doing my usual research, is ranked among the highest in a lot of, like, consistently got 9 or 10 stars, and the people who gave it 8 stars, fuck y'all. Splash, your opinion is trash. But but man, this is a good episode.
No, because it's good. Because something that I think always makes for a good story is a complex villain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why we love Spike, because he's clearly capable of like emotion and sweetness and tenderness when he's with Drusilla. And then he's also very clearly, at least by reputation, capable of incredible violence, cruelty, all those things. Because it would not make for an interesting show if all of the bad guys were only bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Be easier, of course. But
gotta have some twists. Gotta have some hard lessons learned.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that about does it for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode, and we hope you'll join us again next week when we will discuss Season 2, Episode 8, The Dark Age.
And The Dark Age is going to be another super special episode, folks, because we're going to have a super special guest joining us, my dear friend, Philip Beechler. Philip has been such a kind listener of the pod, dear friend. He emailed us such a cute note the other day, and it was so kind. I got to see Phil get married. It was delightful, such a fun time. And this is going to be a really fun one to have them on. So
yay! I can't wait to meet Phil, because any good friend of yours has passed the test necessary. So I am sure I will adore him, and I'm very excited to meet him. And if you are just too excited to wait until the next episode to chat, send us an email at tabularasabpod@gmail.com. That's tabularasabpod@gmail.com. You can also say hello to us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Tabula Rasa B Pod. And we'd be so thrilled if you would leave us a rating and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. It's a big help to the show.
And fun fact, Philip, who's going to be our co-host next time, I just said that, I don't need to repeat that, whatever. Philip was the first person to leave us a 5-star review. I did not know that they had done that for us, but found out recently that first review, the first 5-star review that I sent to you that one time, Allie, and I was like, who is it? Oh my God, so nice. Cool. Oh my God. It was Phil.
Well, then I already love you, Phil. Yeah. Excellent. Very excited.
We've have not talked about one crucial piece of information, my dear Allie, and that is where people find you on social media.
Well, people can find me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at DaughterPick, DAUGHTERPICK. And you can find me on TikTok at Future Black Cat. And if you wish to help me as a young starving artist, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/AlliePress, ALLIEPRESS, or you can go right to Venmo at Allie-Press.
How about that? All of those social media handles are going to be in the description. Allie, I know you're about to go say hi to your family's new dog. Please tell the dog I love him. Tell your parents I love them. And I love you.
And I love you, Nicholas. And to all of you out there listening, make proud choices. We'll see you next time.
Make proud choices. Bye.
Bye. Tabula Rasa Bitches is hosted by Allie Press and Nick Mercer, with music by Inflaton Cult, artwork by Charlotte Fleming Design, and consultation by Evo Terra.